It's crazy that it seems like, in my opinion, allegedly, I'm really defending myself here from defamation charges, Ezra Miller went from the person that would be known for having the Speed Force to now the person a lot of people are saying has the Child Need Force. Is that too far? I don't know, but Ezra Miller doesn't seem to have lines on what's too far. And personally, I am completely and utterly out of patience and any semblance of sympathy for this individual. It is just getting absolutely ridiculous. You know, to quote the Joker from The Dark Knight, I'm hitting the point where this is a third, I believe, in a video about Ezra Miller's insane behavior, and this person is going to make me break my one rule, which is I try not to talk about the same exact topic. Now, I'm not talking the same game or same movie or whatever, but the same exact topic more than 3 times. I have the infamous Tim Drake bisexuality trilogy. I also have a trilogy on Evil Dead, the game, where essentially I really pissed off and kicked the hornet's nest. And now we're on the Ezra Miller trilogy. Now I want to lay a few ground rules here. It's like when you enter a new classroom, okay? I am going to do my absolute best to not call Ezra Miller he. Now here's the reason for that. It's actually because I've noticed that when people make that mistake, people use it as an excuse to ignore what they're saying. And I think that's ridiculous. However, I also understand that there are a lot of people that do identify as they that are not insane lunatics. And finally, on top of all of this, I don't care what people in the comments do. Some people, I think last time we talked about it, thought I did, that I was like, you have to do this or that. No, you know what? When it comes to this stuff, I think it's very complicated and confusing. I'm going to do my best to just refer to Ezra Miller as this person or this individual, because at the risk of pissing someone off, I genuinely don't know if Ezra Miller knows who Ezra Miller is. I really don't, in any way, because the behavior and statements from this person have been absolutely erratic and batshit insane, in my opinion, for like the last half a year. It started even before that, when there was the whole incident with choking a fan outside of a bar, which was not a good look, but people chalked it up to maybe there was like drinking involved and substance abuse in this situation. That sucks. That's really bad, but hopefully this person can get their life together. Now we're at the point where it's like just strikeout after strikeout on poor behavior, because now, after allegations that I didn't even talk about, by the way, on this channel from a few weeks ago, of an individual called Takata Iron Eyes. This was someone who allegedly met Ezra Miller when Ezra Miller was in their 20s, and Takata Iron Eyes was in, how old was this person? I believe 12. Now, they met during this time, and apparently they started hanging out together. Takata Iron Eyes, who is now 18, dropped out of school, just completely quit on a lot of the future prospects that, were going on, and just started being an Ezra Miller groupie in a lot of ways. Now, these parents of this individual have now alleged, and again, it's alleged, that there was a lot of bad behavior going on with Ezra Miller and this person forever. I don't know why they waited to say it until now. To me, it comes off a little bit like the Michael Jackson thing, where you had like a lot of people who just kind of kept their mouth shut for years because they were getting favors and being told, hey, don't talk about this, when their kids were hanging out with them. But I don't really know.
I'm really sick of these parents who are like, yeah, I don't know why my young child is hanging out with this adult who's obviously problematic. I guess I'll wait 8 years to talk about it.
Jill's in the background in the room working on something, but I completely agree. It's very odd. It comes out weird, and that's why at first I didn't even talk about this, because I thought that this could be a weird clout chasing thing as we got further in with it. And I had mentioned some of the allegations, but I never got fully into the Takata Iron Eyes thing. But it has gotten even worse now, because Ezra Miller has now had a protective order granted against them. Essentially what happened was, on Wednesday, and we are on the Daily Beast, so I'm going to not read this whole thing but use excerpts because I don't want to just steal someone's work. A mother and her 12-year-old child traveled to the local courthouse in Greenfield, Massachusetts, where they were granted a temporary harassment prevention order against Ezra Miller after alleging that the actor menaced their family one evening in their downstairs neighbor's home and acted inappropriately toward the non-binary youngster. Okay, here's the other thing, by the way, about all of this. No matter where you fall on any of this, I've seen a lot of people in the comments saying stuff like, oh, well, it's because they're, they or whatever. Look, I think that there's a lot of straw men here on both sides. Ezra Miller has gotten such a freaking pass from a lot of people just for being they, okay? This doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter at all. Like, if a black person shoots up a school or a white person shoots up a school, somebody shot up a school. Who gives a shit about, like, the outward thing? It has nothing to do with anything. But at the same time, it's also why I'm, like, hesitant to even call Ezra Miller they right now, because I feel like, and I do know I have viewers that are LGBTQ or whatever, from pretty much every walk of life, from straight like me to, like, the gayest person around. No offense to you, power to you. I don't really think that there's a lot of bad associations with this story, because everyone's like, we got to get the pronouns right. But then everybody else is just associating, oh, so people with different pronouns are nut jobs. Like, I don't think that that's a good idea either. It's like, I think that this part of the conversation should just be thrown out. It doesn't matter that this kid is non-binary or whatever they are. It doesn't matter that Ezra Miller is non-binary, which I still don't even know that they are, because the same person in that interview that everybody like wants to circle jerk to prove their point said, I don't barely even identify as a human. So, like, I don't know what Ezra Miller even thinks at all, and I don't think this individual does either, because it really seems like there's been an issue of substance abuse, alcohol abuse, just being blasted out of their mind on different things, and having like a very, very out there mentality where like this person is disassociating, in my opinion, from reality. Like they're not in the same realm as we are. That's something that we're going to get to here too. So we kind of get to a point with this person where I don't think that they are in a sound state of mind at all. And when you're not, I personally don't take what you have to say very much to heart. Okay? So if you're going to go in an interview and say, I'm not a human being, which is not exactly what this person said, but something similar to that, and then tell me that you're they, them, or whatever you are, I'm kind of lumping this all in together, where I think whatever you want to be and do with your life, you're not hurting anybody. I don't care, but you got to go to therapy. And if you've been doing criminal activities, like has been alleged a ton by lots of different people and witnesses now, and is really looking like it's just confirmed, you actually have to have consequences for those actions. One of those consequences immediately should be removal from the Flash. Now, I'm not a cancel culture person. I don't like it at all, but you have to admit, it is ridiculous when you're having instance after instance like this. But then Johnny Depp got removed from WB projects. Johnny Depp got removed from Disney projects just for being an alleged toucher, But now we have Ezra Miller hanging out with 12-year-olds. And it gets worse. It gets actually worse, because there were more allegations with this, but it kept on going with Takada Iron Eyes' parents before actually saying that Ezra used violence, intimidation, threat of violence, fear, paranoia, delusions, and drugs to hold sway over Takada, their kid. But then, as it kept going into more and more of these accusations with the new family, it was actually said that on February 2nd of this year, Miller was present at the downstairs neighbor's home in Greenfield. There are a bunch of statements that don't matter in Vermont. This person's getting way too close to my home state of Minnesota, so please, Ezra Miller, just stay away. Stay away from us. Duluth and other areas around here have enough problems. But Miller was apparently wearing a bulletproof vest randomly, hanging out at this place, which is not illegal, but that's weird. And what they did was start getting angry whenever somebody said something that was slightly seen as offensive by Ezra Miller. Now, this is like the meme of not the Karen, but like Emily on Twitter. You know, like that person who has to like stand up and fight for everyone around them, who has no real problems of their own, so they have to make them up for other people. And the funny thing with Ezra is that it was said by this woman that she was traveling with her tribe of people, where Miller snapped at her and accused her of cultural appropriation, which isn't illegal on its own. It's douchey and weird, not illegal. But then a conversation about board games went sideways when Miller claimed that the board game Parcheesi had Rastafarian roots. There was a neighbor here who's half black, by the way. This is important because if you know anything about Rastafarian culture, it is rooted in that race. Questioned Miller as to which sect of the Rastafari movement Parcheesi originated from. Now, here we're quoting, "At this point, Ezra explodes and started screaming directly into my face. They said, you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. What did you say to me? What did you just say to me?" I was very caught off guard, the visiting neighbor continues. Then they opened up their jacket. They had this, like, big Sherpa jacket, and they opened up one side of their jacket, and you could see a gun. And they said talking like that could get you into a really serious situation. Which, okay, this is illegal. You can't flash a firearm at people, by the way. Not in the United States. I don't know about anywhere else. I know the UK is even more strict with this kind of stuff, but the United States, you can't go around and be like, check out my gun. Better watch what you say. Like, you can't do this. This is like the good old boys behavior from down south that is very much frowned upon. You don't get to do that here. That is very illegal, even if you do possess a firearm legally and have a conceal and carry. You are not actually supposed to reveal that firearm outside of gun trade shows and ranges and other public places or things like that are focused on that activity, unless it is to defend yourself, right? So if somebody's coming at you, it's not illegal to now, like if you have a conceal and carry license and you have no way out, at least in Minnesota, that's the rule. For us here is you have to essentially try to get away from the situation first. It's not like Castle Doctrine in Texas where somebody sets foot on your lawn and you got a sniper rifle and you're coming in from the grassy knoll out south because you don't quite like the way you look. And it's self-defense. No. This is like Minnesota, I know, is very much more on the opposite side. You have to try and get away. A lot of states are very much like that. If you can't, then you can reveal your firearm and pull it. And if you have to, you discharge your firearm. You don't do warning shots. Those have to come down somewhere. They can kill somebody. So essentially it is used as a tool for defense. That is the legal use of a firearm outside of gun trade shows, etc. And the thing with this is you can't just go around flashing it at someone. And what happened after this is even more weird. So keep in mind, this is right after Ezra Miller allegedly revealed a firearm to this person because they got in an argument about Parcheesi that wasn't even an argument. This person just asked what they were talking about. And Ezra Miller freaks out. So then this individual, apparently, according to the mother and the child, and the neighbor, looked at the then 11-year-old and said, I'm going to do my most creepy voice ever. "I've talked extensively with your child, and they have a lot of power to them. At one point, you're going to realize that you don't have any control over them anymore. They're an elevated being, and they would be lucky to have someone like me guide them."
Wrong DC character.
Okay, I'm going to assume those are the sounds. You're basically saying you want to take an 11-year-old under your wing. I'm hoping it's not the wing between Ezra Miller's legs, but I don't really know what's going on anymore. So this really comes off as predatory behavior. It's creepy and weird. It's not like an old version of, mentoring someone, which even if it's meant to be that way, it is not. You don't tell someone, "Hey, by the way, give me your kid. I can show him a good time." Like, you don't do this, right? Especially after flashing a gun. Now, what I don't understand about these people is that they actually had come across Miller later, which is odd to me because it was talking, they were talking about this more with the kid. and said that Miller basically came back to the child and began pestering them with compliments. At one point, moving Ezra's... Okay, when everyone uses their in a sentence, I understand we're trying to be nice, Daily Beast, but it's making this impossible to actually convey to an audience when everyone is there in the situation, so maybe we could use names. But at one point, Ezra Miller moved Ezra Miller's chair closer to this kid and requested that the kid add the actor on Instagram and told the child to pursue fashion. There's nothing wrong with that part, by the way. I want to be clear. This kid wants to be into fashion. More power to you. My wife has been playing Style Savvy lately, a good old 3DS, style game. Maybe Ezra Miller would get some of this out of the system if just played some Style Savvy.
I'm still mad that Style Savvy's not on Switch. Everybody should yell at Nintendo for that.
Very off topic, but true. So they were automatically just weirdly drawn to me and kept talking about how they love my outfit and love my style and kept going on and on about how it was great, the child remembered. It was really uncomfortable. I was really nervous. I was scared to be around them after he'd yelled at my mother and she was crying. This kid said he, by the way, not me. This is in the article. So the mother and visiting neighbor both believe that Miller may have been under the influence. Wow, what a shocker. Due to the dilated pupils and erratic behavior. Miller apologized for the outburst only to return to pester the family on a number of other occasions. I understand, if Ezra Miller was invited back, or if Ezra Miller just came back uninvited. But weirdly, Ezra Miller seems to have a thing for hanging out with families with kids that are not famous at all. We're not talking Drake and Millie Bobby Brown type stuff here, where it's like, hey, we're both famous, how you doing? No, this is like, hey, nobody? Want to give me your kids? He's like Krampus, okay? I don't know. This kid called him he. I don't know what to call this person anymore. I don't know what to
call him Krampus.
I don't even know what to say anymore about Ezra Miller, because it's like, I don't know what Ezra Miller is or believes or does not do. These are all allegations, but it gets worse. How does it get worse, you're asking me? How? You want to get nuts? Okay, let's get nuts. Because Ezra Miller is now on Instagram taunting the cops. This is bad, okay? So Ezra Miller has since deleted this Instagram account, but Ezra was posting these images that were like, you can't touch me, I'm in another universe, after it was revealed publicly that they were actually going to be served papers, by legal teams to essentially have to go to court or stay away from these individuals and other stuff. The police can't find this person. So basically Ezra Miller is on the run, in my opinion. Just gone. Which is epic, by the way, because The Flash being on the run, perfect marketing material. Possibly touching kids, though, not great, but I think a good PR person at WB could work around it, or at least that must be what they're thinking, because, oh yes, as of recording this, they won't say jack shit. It's just like, whatever, let's pretend this isn't happening. We have allegations of our star hanging out with 12-year-olds. Why, by the way, why 12? Weird fixation on 11 and 12. That's what's very odd to me. We can't even get into the weird internet argument of, well, in 1822, the age of consent was 13, and my grandparents got married when they were 14 and 16. We can't even get into that. This is like somebody in their mid-late 20s hanging out with 12-year-olds. In modern day, that's not normal. It's weird. It's just weird, no matter what the purpose of it is. Unless you're doing one of those Big Brother programs or whatever, then you know what? Then you get a pass, or you're a teacher or whatever. But just doing this on your own, going to hang out with these families and borderline hit on these kids is odd. And WB is not saying anything. They're just kind of ignoring it. Johnny was admittedly just ruined for a long time, Johnny Depp, just for being told, hey, by the way, you hit me. Amber Heard just says, this in an interview without even naming Johnny Depp, loses whole career. Gone for a long time. Ezra Miller running around like the reverse Flash, borderline hitting on kids, in my opinion.
Predatory behavior.
Being predatory, and then getting a pass I believe, for just the whole they thing. I really do think that that's what's going on, is a lot of people have not wanted to talk about this because of, like I said before, that like those associations. You know, those people like, and this is why I say it's important not to be one of these people. If you're one of the people in the comments or on Twitter or whatever who's like, wow, are they them being a lunatic? Well, you go figure. That's the reason why a lot of people aren't talking about this, because they don't want someone like them associated with something bad. But guess what? That's a lot like the Harvey Weinstein shit. You know, that's a lot like the Bill Cosby stuff, where people knew this was going on. It's like, well, gee, we don't want to get Harvey Weinstein in trouble. He's got a lot of power. You know, we don't want to talk about this. Or Bill Cosby, well, we don't want to get Bill Cosby in trouble. He's got a lot of power and he's black. This will look racist, you know, if we call him out for this. I really do think there's a lot of people walking on eggshells with Ezra Miller. Like Ezra Miller said in one unhinged interview, where it was also said they barely identify as a human, that they are non-binary and they, them. So look out, can't talk about it. And if anyone steps out of line slightly and misgenders this person, to the guillotine with them. It's just one of those things to me where this is all just so bizarre and weird and so team-based, which is sad. Everyone should be on the same page right now that Ezra Miller is acting out of control and needs to be gone. This is not really up for debate, in my opinion. Yes, maybe the general audience doesn't care about who actors are, but if you told them, hey, by the way, you're potentially supporting a child groomer, they're going to care. They're going to care about that. They're not going to go want to see a movie if someone's a pedophile in it. Now, we don't know that Ezra Miller is, but in my opinion, this is predatory behavior that is often associated with people who are. I don't know any other way to see it. There's been allegations of Ezra Miller trying to start almost like a cult, like a groupie type following. Now we've got the elevated being talk. We've got harassing multiple families, taunting the police, saying these memes are, if they're even memes, like, I'm in another universe, or, you can't touch me with your negativity, after it's revealed that the police want to serve papers to this person. It is so bizarre and sad. And I'm a nobody. I'll say that 100 times. Even if we hit 10 million subscribers on this channel at some point, please help me make that happen. I'm just a normal person, okay? I'm not like some Hollywood director. I'm not some bigwig actor or anything like that. I personally have tried very hard to just be like, this person's individual. This individual is troubled, right? This person has a lot of problems. They need to get some help. Yeah, sure. That's true. I still stand by that. However, I don't understand the people who still have sympathy for and patience for this person. Being sick does not absolve you of your behavior. Abusing substances does not absolve you of your behavior. I've had family members that are alcoholics. I've had family members that are drug abusers. You know what they don't do? Go and like weirdly fawn over children. This is odd. This is bizarre. It's not normal. It's not okay. And frankly, it has to stop. There is no reality. There's no universe where it makes any sense to keep Ezra on the Flash at this point. It's been goodwill after goodwill after goodwill given and lost and squandered. And at this point, if Ezra Miller really wants to destroy their own career and ruin themselves, fine. Let this person do that. But the possibility of dragging kids down for the ride, essentially, and the possibility that there might be, when you look at a situation like this, I'm not going to say that there is, because that could be defamatory. But in my opinion, when you're looking at a situation like this, where there's predatory behavior, often what happens is there are sexual proclivities and misbehaviors associated around it that are not okay, that will never be okay, no matter what label you try to put on them on Twitter, and don't matter what the pronouns are of the person who's doing them. It doesn't matter at all. It shouldn't even be part of the conversation. I'm sad to see someone that I believe was a good actor. In Justice League, the Snyder Cut, I talked about that, Flash being one of my favorite things from it, ruining that, kind of ruining this future and this reputation and dragging the Flash down with it in a lot of ways, the movie, dragging the character down with it, because now WB's in a weird position too, where what do? Do you scrap the whole movie? What do you do? Because you have to introduce essentially that Batman, that Michael Keaton Batman, because that Michael Keaton Batman is now going to be in the Batgirl HBO show. So if you cancel this, you have to cancel that. You can't just put Michael Keaton in there and have it not make sense. So now are you going to have to recast and reshoot the entire movie? Hundreds of millions of dollars probably at that point. Are you going to have to try and CGI over Ezra Miller? At that point, Ezra Miller is definitely, I mean, I'm sure Ezra Miller has already been paid, but I don't know what the legal repercussions of that would be. I don't know if it would just look like Superman's weird-ass lip from the original Justice League. This whole thing is so bad and so weird, and I feel like people have really weaponized it on both sides, even though I don't think there should be any sides. Like, if somebody's gay or somebody's they, or yeah, that rhymes, or somebody's whatever, as long as they're not hurting anybody, I could not care less. You know, you're not me. I don't care. You know, like, just don't, you're not making me be they, them, because I'm just not. I'm he, him. You know, that's me. I'm just a straight person. But I don't care what you do off on your own side or own time. But then you have all these people like justifying it and trying to be like, well, let's not talk about it because Ezra Miller's LGBTQ. And then you have all these other people who are like, oh, an example of a crazy LGBTQ person? Well, better rub my nipples and get on Twitter and get real, you use it, you know, to really take down that community. Oh man. It's like, what are we doing here? You know, like everybody's turning this into some big thing that it shouldn't be, when in my opinion, we have an individual here who's not right in the head, possibly abusing kids, and if not abusing, in my opinion, misleading, weirdly treating predatorily, and harassing the families of it. It's been said multiple times. I'm surprised none of these families got choked outside of a bar, but hey, maybe they did and it just hasn't been revealed yet. I don't know. I'm wondering if this is actually the Reverse Flash. I've seen a lot of people say that this is the Reverse Flash, ruining the reputation of the real Flash. That's an interesting take. Let me know what you think in the comments down below about this whole thing. I'm not one for apologies unless I like actually really mess something up. But genuinely, when I make videos like this, I know anyone who would have gotten mad at me at any point is already gone. But, you know, you, the educated viewer who's still here, can tell them. I really try to be respectful to people. You know, they, them, he, him, she, her, whatever. I don't care. You know, as long as you're a decent person. Ezra Miller is not appearing to me to be a decent person in any way, shape, or form. There need to be consequences for this action. The police need to find this person. They need to face the repercussions of what's going on. And people need to stop weaponizing it on both ends of any spectrum. It's ridiculous and a joke. It's one of the reasons why I didn't even know if I should talk about this. Because if I slip up once and call Ezra he, even though that non-binary kid did, by the way, in the interview, you know, Jay hates gay people or whatever. The same thing happened with the Tim Drake shit. And on the other hand, if it's I'm too nice, I literally get a subset of people nuttily being like, well, this is why being gay is blah. It's like, I don't care. I don't care about that. I care about this individual who is tanking the reputation of the Flash, tanking the reputation of an entire group of people, which for some reason now we let one crazy person, in my opinion, represent an entire group of people. I've never understood that, but whatever. I guess, you know, Tom Hanks represents me because he's white too. But I just don't get it. I don't get any of this shit. It's ridiculous. I'm upset. I'm frankly perturbed, disturbed, and upset. Let me know what you think in those comments down below. Please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. This was a bit of a long ride, like 30 minutes. I want to say a super special thank you to some of my patrons who have been helping me out a lot. One of the biggest ones, actually, that I want to mention, there's two massive patrons I want to mention. No, they're not that fat, but they're just very helpful. One of them is the Dark Nightmare. This dude, this boy, B-O-I, has been really helping us out this month. This has been a very bad month on YouTube. I can't get people to see my videos. I can't actually get into the algorithm or into search or anything right now. I don't know if I pissed somebody off, like maybe I misgendered a YouTube employee at some point on accident.
Susan decided she hated you.
I have no idea, but for some reason, we're just getting no traction. And Dark Nightmare really stepped in and helped us a lot this month, and it's very much appreciated. You know, this support from people like Dark Nightmare and people like Seth, who I talk to almost every day, who's a patron supporter who really helps us out too. This support is actually, believe it or not, why I'm still able to do this as much as I am. You know, no plans to quit, no plans to go anywhere, but the support from patrons and people who help us out, people who check out Enchanted Glamor, where Jill, my wife, makes beautiful jewelry and all kinds of other gifts and stuff that can go to the family and other loved people in your life. People who support those endeavors and support the Let's Play channel, Degenerate Plays, and support the Patreon and things like that. It's so helpful, you have no idea. You know, if every single person who watched this channel could like get somebody else interested in it, we would double in size. Like, you have no idea how much impact you have over the success of our channel. And it's both scary to us, but also really appreciated that you show us that support. So thank you very much. Have a fantastic day. And as always, everyone, stay shui.